I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out.
We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Just start fresh someplace else. You know, no job, no family, just walk away. That's my number one fantasy.
Number one fantasy pick, Don.
David Johnson.
David Johnson. Good. That's good.
Great.
Make sure to join the Armchair Quarterbacks right here. We'll answer all your questions, pickups, trades, you name it. You want to win your league? Then listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's fantasy football time.
What's happening in sports? Find out when it happens. Get the CBS Sports app free in the Android market and iTunes App Store.
Top Gun Supply stocks a wide range of firearms, so stop on by at Top Gun Supply at 525 State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Top Gun Supply is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Go, Red Sox.
The last segment of the Armchair Quarterbacks app, radio show, and Facebook Live. We're talking baseball. We'll be talking pickups, trades, who's hot, who's not, sleepers and busts. And with that, we'll also be talking how these players perform and what it means to their teams and what to look for. That's the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show, talking baseball.
Go, Red Sox.
And it's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks for DFS advice all year round.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3 ounce serving. Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
cannot deal with couples referring to each other as kings and queens anymore. I'm gonna lose it. Does this not repulse anybody else? Anything for my queen. Forever my king. I don't know about you. I haven't met many kings that work at T-Mobile. Do your friends not make fun of you? Go watch old footage of the royal weddings on YouTube. You won't see anybody wearing New York Giants pajama pants, okay? I promise you that. Queen Elizabeth's not peeling off her eyelashes after a night out at Buffalo Wild Wings. Well, Eric, shouldn't they appreciate their significant other as if they were a king or a queen? Of course you should, but you and I both know that's not what's going on here. This is braggadocious, delusional Instagram garbage. When you're captioning kings at 32 years old because you were able to purchase the Travis Scott Jordans from an 8th grader on StockX, you need to Google what a king is. They're hanging out in castles. They're making up laws. They're covering up sexual assault scandals. They're not buying their Ralph Lauren underwear from a TJ Maxx, okay? Who are you kidding with this? Burger King? The Dairy Queen? Is that who you're talking about? Because that's who the rest of us are seeing on vacation in Cancun.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. We've got early Thursday action in Major League Baseball today. The Braves and Marlins square off at 12:20 Eastern, Rogers versus Anderson. At 1:10, it's Garrett Richards and Michael Pineda, Twins and Red Sox. Other games of note, Phillies and Mets at noon, Padres and Pirates at 12:30. Marco Gonzalez goes up against Bruce Zimmerman as the Mariners are in Baltimore at 1:05 Eastern. Indians and White Sox, 2:10 Eastern. And this evening, the Rays host the Rangers at 7:10. Blue Jays at the Royals, Tigers and A's, and Rockies and Dodgers finish their series. In the NBA tonight, you've only got a few games, but you got a nice doubleheader on TNT starting at 7:30 Eastern. It's Bucks and Hawks and Celtics at Lakers at 10 p.m. Warriors take on the Cavs at 8, and the Kings and Suns do battle at 10. Those games are local. In the National Hockey League at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's the Islanders versus the Bruins, and Preds are at the Hurricanes, along with Panthers and Lightning on NBC Sports Network, the battle for Florida. At 7:30 Eastern, Blackhawks versus the Red Wings, and the Devils and Rangers, Sabres and Caps, Flyers and Penguins, and Jets and Maple Leaf are all in early action. And then on ESPN Plus at 8:30, it's the Blue Jackets versus the Stars. In college baseball, number 11 South Carolina travels to LSU in Baton Rouge on ESPNU at 7:30. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Carlos Rodon losing a perfect game midway through the ninth on a hit by pitch to the top of a foot is about as beat as you can take. I hope you slept last night, sir. Hang your head high.
I'll see that beat and raise you a beat. Did you see the beating that guy took from Aaron Donald? Wow. Why you picking on that guy of any guy? You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Mama and Papa were laying in bed. Mama and Papa were laying in bed. Mama rolled over, this is what she said. Mama rolled over, this is what she said. I give me some. I give me some. I give me some. I give me some. PT. 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 Good for you. Good for you. Good for me. Good for me. Good. Good.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee, sitting alongside Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
Well, I'm trying to avoid the sweep today, but other than that, I'm doing good. But I have diagnosed the problem. It's not the bullpen, Mac.
It's
not
diabetes.
the bullpen.
The whole team's got diabetes.
We need a COVID break.
Evidently,
That's all it is.
Evidently, everyone on the team needs a damn jab except for Acuna. You know what I hate the most about this is that we are wasting incredible games, incredible efforts by Ronald Acuna Jr. and not getting W's. We've done this in the past with Freddie, and I get it. It's a team game. But when you have a guy who's as white hot as Acuna is, it's nauseating to watch him give up these efforts. Ties the game up last night with the 2-run shot. You just knew it was going to happen. And then the fundamentals, it drove me absolutely insane last night. The fundamentals on this team is as bad as I've seen it on any Braves team. Last year, it would drive me a little nuts, but they always seem to come through with the clutch hit here and there. This team doesn't get fundamentals, and as great as Acuna was last night, he was the guy that led off the bottom of the 10th inning where we have the runner on second base and Cinciarte. It's not going to take much to get him in, and he strikes out. So then the next batter up, which is Freddie, gets him over to third on a fly ball. But at that point, that's a moot point because you're setting up Ozuna, who is not only is he hitting terribly, the guy's known as a whiffer, and he is swinging at air and doesn't get the run in. On a situation when you're down a run, the bottom of the 10th inning, and you've got Acuna on, I get it. He's an incredible talent. He can hit it out at any part of the park, and I get that. He's got to find a way to hit the ball to the right side. First of all, make contact. Second of all, to hit the ball to the right side of the infield. So if nothing else, Cinciarte is sitting on third base when Freddie hits the fly ball. Because I am very confident if Freddie Freeman is up to bat with one out and Cinciarte is standing on third, Freddie's going to find a way to get that run in. But
I mean, that's cool and all, but let's talk about defense. I thought that's where you were going to start with fundamentals. Dude, I know you want his bat in the lineup, but you got to get Ozuna out of left field. Anybody in the league can put the ball in left field and challenge his arm any given play they want. All they need is a base runner, and we are a liability. We are a liability.
What do you
with base runners on.
I mean, what do you mean you get him out of?
You
just paid a guy $65 million to be a bench player. That's not going to happen.
I mean, you laughed at me when I was not lukewarm when the signing happened. I mean, until this universal DH happens, there's no excitement or to pop to that. It's a liability. You got to bring somebody up. You're going to have to find someone else, and they're just going to have to be games you sit him.
That's not going to happen. He's not going to get. Ozuna is at the beginning of a 4-year, $65 million contract. That's insane to
Well, then he's got to be putting in the effort in the off days out there practicing, at least making it less of a liability, practicing hitting his cutoff man. I mean, he's got to do his fundamentals correct to be able to be out there and make this turn some of these L's into W's.
You know, this goes back to spring training. What the hell were they doing in spring training? Because I've got a feeling they were reading their newspaper clippings.
Maybe they were going all virtual like some of these NFL teams. I have no idea, but they weren't practicing hitting the cutoff man and relaying into the plate, because that's what needs to happen on the left side of the ball field.
And I mean, as far as the defense, because you can't just put it all on Ozuna. I mean,
I'm not. I'm picking on him because it just seems like, especially during this series, the Marlins have just picked on him. I mean, they have tremendously just picked him apart out there.
But realize this is a guy that won the Gold Glove in 2017, so he's not that far removed. I felt like when he won the Gold Glove that year, it was a little absurd, and people didn't actually watch him play every day. But he's not a Gold Glover, but he's also not the worst left fielder on the planet. He's somewhere in between. I'm with you as far as hitting the cutoff man, etc. I also think that there's just no fear in his arm when that fat ass Jesus Aguilar hit the double to lead off the top of the 10th, and he didn't score. But the point is, he should have never been standing on second base when a ball is hit to left field from Ozuna, who, I mean, it's essentially a single.
Well,
It's
let's
a
go back to
long
the
single.
Phillies game on Sunday night where the gentleman never touched the plate and it got overturned. It should have never been a 7-hopper. I mean, he should have, the runner should have never run. He should have challenged it. He should have said, okay, this guy is going to ring me up if I go. There's no fear of it.
Right. And I'm with you. I think he needs to, if nothing else, he needs to practice throwing over anything else, because you can't change his mobility in the middle of the season, right?
He can read it well. He still has the range in the eyes, and I mean, he takes good cuts. He's there for the play.
He doesn't have a strong arm. He doesn't have a strong arm. But I'm with you. He needs to get out there and practice as far as, if bare minimum, being able to get the ball. Aguilar didn't score, but he should have, because when they got him on second base with nobody out, the Marlins should have put that game to a two-run lead. Okay. Right now, the Braves are 4-6. The Marlins are 5-6. This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. And they play again today at noon. It's a quick turnaround. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. It is Jackie Robinson Day. Happy Jackie Robinson Day to everybody. I meant to.
I mean, the good thing I do say about it, and so we don't end this on and Happy Jackie Robinson Day as well.
Because Justin got my blood boiling so quickly, I forgot it was Jackie Robinson Day.
Well, I mean, some things just need to be addressed. I mean, we're tired of this tiptoeing around things in this world today. I mean, some things you just need to confront head on, and the Atlanta Braves are one of them. I mean, they need to fix this crap.
Only people tiptoeing is my wife tiptoeing around me around 10:30 Eastern every night. She doesn't even ask me anymore if we won or lost. Good night.
Hey, it's 2 weeks. Today is 2 weeks in, so we knew it would be a rough April. Here's the silver lining. You like the adversity of being down, what was it, 5-1, and they battle back and tie the game. So, I mean, you have a lot of positives to take out of this, and I feel like Derek Dooley here with my moral victory, but, I mean, it's not doom and gloom.
9-1, I would have gotten to bed earlier. I just, my God, if you're going to get your ass kicked, get your ass kicked.
Just don't fight back. Okay.
Well, I just say, when you come back from 5-1, well, actually 5-0, and you tie it up and you go to extra innings, and then you don't even score. People have complained about the extra innings rule, right? It makes it too easy to score. Well, the Braves don't find it very easy to score in extra innings. They don't move the runner along. By the way, have you caught how red hot the Boston Red Sox are?
9-game winning streak.
Wow. And I talked about it on my walk-off yesterday to watch they played a doubleheader with the Minnesota Twins yesterday. And I watched the first game. The first game was phenomenal. Did not get a chance to catch the second game. I was watching the Braves. And then once I realized Rodon had a no-hitter going around the 6th inning, I think is when I realized it. I kind of locked my second device in on that, and that's all I really watched last night. I kind of kept it on the Mets and Phillies, but when they play each other, I don't really sweat it either way, because I'm like, well, I'm going to gain here somehow. Now, later in the season, if one's doing much better than the other, then I'll pull for the other side. But
they had a little slump on Tuesday in the first game. Wednesday, they only scored 4 and 3 runs. You realize that's their lowest 2 scoring games. Every other game during that 9-game winning streak, they've scored over 6 runs. They have put up monster numbers.
Yeah, they are. They're actually pitching pretty well, and their hitting has been really good. The only game they didn't hit real well was the game they escaped. Not Wednesday, but Tuesday. I watched that game. It was like a sleetish kind of snow that was going on there, and miserable for the fans to be out in. But the Red Sox, man, I mean, they are just absolutely rolling. That not only are they 9-3, and realize this 9-game winning streak comes after the hands of a 3-game sweep to the Orioles. So there is hope, Atlanta fans. But they have a 3-game lead on the Blue Jays Orioles, and a 4-game lead on the Rays and Yankees.
It's amazing.
And I know it's early. And I know I said I thought that they'd be a little better than everyone thought they'd be, but but on Ascension, I did not have the Red Sox making the playoffs. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but this has been an incredible start. I thought that they would be competitive, be a little better than what they were last year. Last year, they came out the gate stumbling, kind of like the way the Braves are now. The only thing that's preventing the Braves from being an absolutely atrocious was that little winning streak that they have had sandwiched in between. So they've had a 4-game losing streak, a 4-game winning streak, and a 4-game losing streak. That's been the Atlanta Braves baseball this year, sitting at 4-8, bottom of the NL East. Still only 2 games behind the Phillies and 3 behind the Mets. It could be a lot worse.
It's not Memorial Day, so we're good.
But
that's the litmus test. Memorial Day is when we panic. So,
but here's the depressing part. Those 4 wins that they got, okay, so 2 of them were to the Phillies, but the other 2 were against a Washington National team that was coming out of COVID ice cold. And we've already wasted 3 games against the Marlins at home that we should be figuring. I'm not saying all wins, but they should have won 2 out of 3.
Listen, when you've won it 3 years in a row,
are they
bottom 3 games? They're just playing with them.
Are they just complacent? Is it the hangover from 2020 where they got to the NLCS, and does this team just not have the fight in them? That's what I'm concerned about long term. Because when you talk about Ozuna getting out there and hitting his relay, man, that's going to take effort from him in practice.
Sorry, I didn't jump in on you there. I think that
I was about to start swearing anyway, so go ahead.
We nickname it Snitty Ball. I'm trying to clean it up because I kind of felt what you were about to step in.
You can replace that N with an H.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to clean mine up as well, and I'm struggling. I think that he knows he has a full season this year versus last year, and I think you're seeing some cat and mouse, and you're seeing some front office, some managerial games right now played with the roster to see what they can and can't do. Also, with your youngsters, these prospects we're going to see, we got to remember about control. I'm not on top if any of them are in a situation where they need to stay down to a certain point or to the deadline. But I think you're just seeing some cat and mouse games. And as long as they're within 3 or 4 games, I think you'll see it. I mean, we did see him swap the lineup around. It really sparked the offense. I expect another change coming. I think he'll toy with it again today. And I'm not panicking yet. There's a hope you get Soroka back. You've got to get Fried accurate. Morton's got to sell it down. Both of them, but we've seen 2 days in a row, 2 pitchers pressing their fastball. And when they do that, they're just missing. And when we say just missing, it's not by much. They're not off far, but they've got to relax and calm down. It's as if they're overthrowing, and you just need to get them calmed in, settled down. Maybe it's fans. I mean, it's been 2 years since they've pitched in front of fans. I don't know if that has an effect. They're just hyped up, but other pitchers have figured out how to control it. They have got to figure out how to calm themselves down and get back to solid rotation, because right now it's the weak link. You can't serve up 4 and 5 runs by your 2 aces back-to-back days and expect this offense to bail you out. They've bailed you out. But then you put a glaring hole on your bullpen. And last night it was not the bullpen's issues. The offense should have closed it out in the 9th, should have never went to the 10th. And in the 10th, same thing, should have moved a runner around that started off on second base with no outs. I mean, this team has had chances to win games. They're playing around. I don't know that it's complacent, but I think it's learning games, and hopefully they know what they're doing.
I'll tell you what, that Trevor Rogers that goes to the mound today, he's the real deal, y'all. So this is not going to be an easy game to get off the schneid. Ian Anderson has looked hittable this year. I still think Ian Anderson long-term is going to be great. I'm not worried about him long-term. He's just having to learn, the bumps and bruises of what a Major League Baseball career is. And it's Anderson versus Rogers. I'll tell you something else. If you think we're panicking, Philadelphia Philly fans were dancing in the street and ready to declare their dominance over the NL East. They have lost the first 3 games of a 4-game series to the Mets. They start at 12:10 Eastern today. They're sending Zach Eflin to the mound, and they're going up against Jacob deGrom.
Gonna be a lot of
You know about some sweat. You know some butt sweat going on right there, man.
Gonna be some Eflin going on.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, here we go, man. We're trying to avoid a 4-game sweep in New York, and they've got deGrom. The only good thing about it is that they never seem to give deGrom much run support. So you've got that on your side, but good God, that is not something. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to this weekend in case we don't get a chance to talk about it tomorrow. The Padres versus Dodgers begins Friday night, and that should be a lot of fun seeing that rivalry because San Diego finishes with Pittsburgh today, and the Dodgers finish mopping the floor with Colorado.
What an upset yesterday. Did you see the Pirates got them?
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody had the foresight to lay money on the Pirates yesterday. If so, you probably should.
I took a bath yesterday. That's all we're gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say on that one, man. Bath. Everything. Whatever the opposite of the Midas touch is what I had yesterday, man. Everything. I mean, anything.
There's gonna be days like that.
Yeah, but it was terrible. By the way, in case people missed it, I do have the.
This
Gonna hold that fastball 6 outs away from perfection. Top 8. Rodon gets Franmil Reyes to pop out to set. 5 outs away. Next bat, facing Jake Bauer. And it gets him on the high. He's pumping at 96 in the 8th.
Anyways, I don't know why I had 2 different audios going at once, but I'm sure that you could hear the audio, correct?
Yeah, you could hear it.
Yeah, I was trying to mute it, but I was afraid if I muted, then I would mute us and I'd send us down that. Normally I take the audio out, and I forgot to take the audio out. Somehow I had 2 audios going on, but that was the final outs of the game last night. Rodon, what Justin's referring to, 8 1/3 innings, a perfect ball and a 2-strike count, and he hits the guy in the foot.
Catcher's got to lay out and avoid that one. I mean, you got to take a bat to the dome. You got to take one for your catcher, your pitcher right there. Don't let that happen.
I think the home plate umpire's got to go full Joe West and not see it.
Absolutely. I mean, that was that was brutal. A perfect game. I got to look it up. I don't remember the last time we saw one. I feel like there's been one in recent memory, but it's been a while since. Yeah,
those are much more exciting to me than the no-hitters because
that's the second one of the season already, and Joe Musgrove had the first one, and nobody even spoke about it.
Right. I mean, a no-hitter, because you could have a sloppy game and still have a no-hitter, you could in theory lose on a no-hitter. You couldn't lose on a perfect game. You don't necessarily going to get the win, but you can't lose on a perfect game. But the no-hitter, to me, it's cool. I like to see it, and it's fun, and the team gets to celebrate, but it's not as where were you kind of memory as a perfecto.
Wow. You realize there's only been 23 total?
Yeah, it's very rare. I don't believe it. I don't think the Braves organization's ever had one.
Nobody's had 2. Eventually I'll find the last one when I'm looking for. But yeah, I didn't realize it was that low of a number.
Don Larson in the 1954 World Series.
I mean, nobody's going to beat that one.
Yeah. That was.
I mean,
if you got the list in front of you, was that one by Halladay in the playoffs? Was that a perfecto or was that just a no?
Let's see here.
Would have been like early part of last decade, 2012-ish, 2010-ish, somewhere in that area. I think that was a no. I don't think that was perfection, but it might have been perfection.
In my lifetime, there's been Martinez in 91, Kenny Rogers in 94, David Wells in 98, David Cohn in 99, Johnson in 04, Burley in 09. That was I forgot about this one. Dallas Braden for the Athletics in 2010, Holiday in 2010.
So, that was a perfecto. Okay.
Yep. Humber of the White Sox, 2012.
Remember that.
Matt Cain, 2012. And Felix Hernandez was the last one in 2012. We had 3 in 2012, and
we haven't had one since.
Haven't had one since.
Wow.
We were
No,
one.
I would have guessed that. I would have guessed 3-4 years ago, something like that.
I felt like about 5-6 years ago we had one. Maybe it was a similar situation where
we never had a perfect game during Armchair Quarterback Radio.
I don't think so. Unless Major League Baseball doesn't know their stats, but I hope they're up to date.
Well, I would think they may.
Yeah, I'm showing 2012 is the last. I mean, they probably don't know as well as we do, but they can reach out for employment if they need us.
Yeah, I mean, you know how they are, man. They're too worried about being woke and moving all-star games to get their stats right.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking last night. Didn't Giolito come close to one a couple years ago? Maybe that's what we're thinking of, wasn't he?
I feel like there's been a lot of close ones, so I think that's might have been what I'm confusing, because for the longest time you would think about when I was a kid, I would get excited about a no-hitter until I realized how common they were. And you don't realize, especially when you're younger, you don't really separate the no-hitter. And because I remember the not Pedro Martinez, was it Dennis Martinez of the Expos perfect game. I watched it. I didn't realize it was as rare as it was. It was like a nationally televised game. It was Expos and Dodgers. The Kenny Rogers one, I feel like I just saw the highlights. I don't feel like I watched that game.
I don't remember any of the 3 from the 80s. And
which ones were in the 80s?
There was a long stretch. You went from Jim Catfish Hunter for the Athletics in 68 to 1981 without a perfect game. And the first one in the 80s was Lynn Barker of the Indians. Then in 84, you had Mike Witt of the California Angels. And 88 was Tom Browning of the Cincinnati Reds. I would have never got those in trivia.
Who was it for the Reds?
Tom Browning.
I remember Tom Browning. He was a part of the pitching staff that upset the A's in the World Series.
Martinez is the first I remember.
What year was he? Okay,
he was 91 on Martinez.
Burley, I do remember Burley. That was 09. David Cone, I remember that one. And David Wells, because Cone and Wells did them back-to-back years, and it felt like, is this going to be something we're going to see all the time? And yeah, Browning, 1988. That wasn't too long before the Reds, was it 2 years later, won the World Series. The Mike Witt one, I really don't remember that one. In 84, I'm more remembering of God, what is his name? Ended up being this pitching coach, Righetti, ripping his finger on the water cooler to put him on the DL. Back then they called it the DL for like almost the entire summer for the Yankees. That was like a big talking point of the fact that had this guy rip his finger on the water cooler. And then a few years later, Vince Coleman rolled his leg up on the tarp machine right before the playoffs, and he was out of commission.
That makes drones light.
Yeah, that's why I was like, when Trevor Bauer did what he did, I was like, that's nothing. Roll your leg up under the tarp and get back to me. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Joey's going to join us, and we're going to get into our mock draft here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be back in a flash here on CBS Sports Radio and YouTube Live.
Here's to feeling good all the time.
Do you love to shop for guns? We're also looking for friendly service? Well, the search is over. Top Gun Supply here in St. Augustine is the friendly gun shop. The staff is very knowledgeable. Frank and Kirk can answer whatever questions you may have and assist you with your AR build. They have a great selection of ammo at great prices. They also carry a full line of targets, cleaning supplies, Lucas Oil products, and firearm magazines. Top Gun Supply is a Glock Blue Label dealer for military and first responders. So what are you waiting for? Stop on by Top Gun Supply of St. Augustine, 525 State Road 16, here in the Westgate Plaza. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
This is Sean O'Toole with the Armchair Quarterback. Catch me during drive time on the Armchair Quarterback radio show and on Facebook Live. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the National Football League, Big Ten, and college football, and more. We cover it all.
I know what you're thinking, but this is new and improved
Armchair.
It's the new and improved Armchair Quarterback Radio. Take us anywhere you go and everywhere you go. The best sports talk show in all the Southeast. So good you can't believe it's not everywhere. Armchair Quarterback Radio. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
100% taste, 0% artificial preservatives, made with a blend of delicious oil, purified water, and just a pinch of salt.
2, please, and spread on some extra.
I'm here all day. New and improved
Armchair.
It's time to believe.
The Armchair Quarterbacks cover the Big 12. Big news and big games all year long.
History of Oklahoma is about winning championships. We play well in the Orange Bowl. You can't say, well, that was then, this is now. That's Oklahoma football.
Looks right, throws deep right side, and it's intercepted! Intercepted! Unhitch the wagon, put the ponies in the board. The Sooners have come into Rocky Top and stolen one away from the Volunteers in double overtime.
And Texas will win the All-State Sugar Bowl. It's going to be a 10-win season for the first time since 2009 in a New Year's Six bowl victory.
Holloway going down the line with it. Keeps it. Turns upfield. First down. Breaks loose. They score. Touchdown. 4th and 5. The national championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it. Vince Young scores.
Armchair.
You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
I hear these fools on TV talking about defund the police and things like that. We need police reform and prison reform and things like that. I'm like, wait a minute. Who are black people supposed to call? Ghostbusters when we have crime in our neighborhoods?
NFL experience. That sounds cool.
Kid, you're the best. Sign with me and you're gonna make millions. Griffin, get out there!
Ow!
It's his knee.
Doc!
You'll never play football again.
Too bad, kid.
You was gonna buy me a house!
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterback, CBS Sports Radio, YouTube Live, and joining us today is Mr. Joey. Joey, how the hell are you?
Great. How we doing?
We're doing better than some people. Let me pull this up. Y'all want to see a thing or two? This is what Aaron Donald did to this man. Oh! Whoa!
I saw that picture.
Says he'll be filing assault charges. And he'll be filing attempted murder charges. Good God.
Got cracked up pretty good.
I mean, according to his story, he got picked on, da-da-da-da-da. Aaron Donald followed him outside the nightclub, da-da-da-da-da. If that's true, Aaron Donald's a moron. And we've seen Aaron Donald do some stupid things, but he hasn't been like Ndamukong Suh. If you told me Ndamukong Suh did this, I'd be like, okay. But what were you doing to get him that ticked off? And were you just trying to poke the bear so you can get yourself a payday?
Yeah, you weren't drunk running your mouth. Because, I mean, that never happens.
You weren't getting hands,
bars, you know.
You weren't getting handsy or braggadocious about Aaron Donald's girlfriend or wife. I don't know his personal situation.
You wasn't showing off for that lady you were trying to pull, were you? How'd that turn out? Just be glad it wasn't Ray Ray.
You didn't show up as his Tinder date, you know, wearing a wig, did you?
Speaking of
Too
Ray
soon?
Lewis, I just want to throw this out there real quick. Do you realize that TSU threw that out there before Eddie George? That's who they were looking to hire or interested in. What a complete 180, and glad they went Eddie George, because that fits Nashville just a little bit better than Ray Lewis. Way to not know your market.
Ray Lewis.
They came out and released it that was in the think tank of the process of they were interested in going at before Eddie George. And wow, I'm glad someone stepped in and intervened, because
I did not
bring a Baltimore Raven into Nashville and see how that pans out.
I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. Eddie George. I'm sorry, Ray Lewis.
I guess they just wanted a fiery splash, something to compete with Dion. But, yeah, way to not know your market. Someone definitely stepped in and said, of all the Ravens, that's not the one. That's not the one to bring into Nashville.
Yeah, that'd just be another.
That won't bring people to the stands. You understand that, right?
That would be just another time where Ray Lewis stole an opportunity right out of Eddie George's hands. Remember that play? He just took the ball. Oh, God.
And guess who's a defensive associate? And I'm sorry, nobody really wants to dive into this, but the Fishers are back. His son, Jeff's son, will be the defensive coordinator, and he's going to be a defensive assistant. And
is Jeff Fisher going to be involved, or is
he is some sort of defensive analyst, assistant, helper? He's something along the lines in the neighborhood.
So he gets a paycheck, but he doesn't have to be 100% in. Gotcha.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It seems like everybody's doing that nowadays. Florida State just hired Randy Shannon, of all people, to be a defensive something. I don't know. When they throw like 4 words into the title, I know it just means that he's much to do about nothing. But Randy Shannon, he's been with Florida, but of course he's more famous with being with the Miami Hurricanes as their head coach. I guess it's been almost a decade, but I think he was the guy that preceded the idiot with the tie that came down from Temple. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into what's happening. Then we'll get into our mock draft. Okay, so Art already kind of alluded to a couple of things. First of all, it's Jackie Robinson Day. I want to make sure everyone notes that. So everyone will be wearing number 42. So it gets really confusing today because no one has a name on the back of their jersey. So you're like, I don't know, man. Number 42 did it. Carlos Rodon's no. We talked about that a little while ago. Corbin Burns has done something, Justin, that no one has done since 1906. And I find that hard to believe. He has started the year off with 18 1/3 innings pitch and 30 strikeouts. No one has seen that feat since 1906. I'm a little surprised it happened in 1906 because people didn't strike out back then. You played to make contact with the ball. Couple other things going on here. We talked about the Aaron Donald situation, and as far as MLB scoreboard today, got a lot of games. We got a lot of early games, which is exciting. I always like when you get the early games. Braves Marlins are at 12:20. Braves try to get off the Schneid. Phillies Mets at 12:10. DeGrom's on the hill. You got the Red Sox going for the 27-game sweep against the Twins. Garrett Richards against Pineda. And Rangers and Rays. Rich Hill takes the hill tonight. Lance Lynn and Savale, White Sox Indians at 2:10. And I want to say there was another good. Royals and Blue Jays start their series. Royals 6-4 right now, starting well, coming out the gate, and the Blue Jays are back to 500. So there you have that in the world of baseball. Before we get into the other scoreboards, did y'all see the Luka Doncic buzzer beater last night? And normally, we don't do a lot of basketball highlights, but this one was insane because the shot itself looked like something. I'm going to play the clip. It looked like something that like the old man at the pickup game does for horse, and you got to try to match it. Like, I'll never be able to do this. Watch this play.
Jam. Grizzlies by 5.
Here we go.
Durant went for 17. 2 minutes left in third. Luka. Spin dribble, step back, splash. Now down 1. And there's 7 minutes to play in the fourth. Grizzlies up by 3. Desmond Bain.
Here we go.
To Grayson Allen. 6-3. Grizzlies by 6. Allen.
I mean, if you roll that back and you get to right where he releases it. What the hell kind of shot is that? And it was crazy because I heard the radio broadcast of it this morning, and the team they were going up against, I heard that broadcast, and they said, well, that's going to send us to overtime and da-da-da-da-da. The guys didn't realize that he was standing behind the three-point arc, or his foot was technically behind the three-point arc. And their reaction to realizing that they're not just going to overtime, they lost the game. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. It was just like, wait, no, he wasn't behind and then you hear them basically scuffling to play the video. Unbelievable. Normally basketball highlights don't really jump out at me, especially if it's not the playoffs. But that one was what the hell did I just look at?
Looked like one of my layups. I didn't see nothing wrong with that. Looked pretty good to me.
It looks like one of those WNBA layups that clanks at the bottom of the rim, and everyone tells you, this is must-see basketball. Everyone's got to get locked in on their 25th anniversary. 25 years they'll begin this year, and they still haven't made a dime.
Are you serious? 25 years? I did not know
25 years ago, whenever they're starting their season, they announced the actual schedule 2 days ago, and that's how they released it. 25th anniversary season. And I was like, man, they have never made a dime. They have lost millions and millions, and it hasn't improved. It hasn't like it started off slow, but we're really starting to gain momentum like that false narrative they try to tell you about American soccer. No. By the way, I saw a video the other day that explains where the term soccer comes from and how Europeans normally, turn their nose up at Americans for calling it soccer. Little known fact, that term came from England. So all these years we've been listening to it's not soccer, it's football, you dumb Americans. It came from, there was a soccer association, and it was like it wasn't American because it was over in England, but I forget what the A stood for, but it was the A something association of soccer. And because they started calling it the association, someone eventually just shortened it to SOC, sock, and then it became soccer. And evidently for a long time, it was okay to call it soccer for years over in the United Kingdom. And then eventually they reverted back to football, and Americans had already started calling it soccer. And then that's how it came about. So when they try to tell you you're dumb American because you call it soccer, like, you started it, jerk face. And then, punch him in the eye like Aaron Donald did. Hockey tonight. I think we've got some games on the plus. Yeah. Blue Jackets and Stars play at 8:30. I do see that the Preds are playing the Hurricanes. You don't get that on the plus, but Panthers and Lightning, that's a fun one. NBC Sports Network tonight at 7. So there you go. And I don't know we'll get into the NBA scoreboard down the road. Okay.
Flyers Penguins on tonight, the free NHL TV game of the week or game of the night. So if you're interested in checking that one out, should be a good matchup. Heated rivalry there.
Unfortunately, I don't get NHL TV anymore.
Well, I mean, it's their free game. So if you want to download the NHL app,
you
should be able to watch it through it tonight.
Okay. I thought you were saying the NHL TV game. You used to get NHL TV, I think, when I first picked up YouTube TV.
Well, NHL Network's not on it. This is the actual MLB TV. They're doing the free game stream tonight.
But didn't the NHL Network used to come on YouTube?
No, I never was able to get it. It wasn't here regionally. We used to get the Fox Sports South affiliates, which I guess is now Bally Sports. And then when they had their regional dispute and took all the regional channels out, YouTube TV lost them, and that cut out Braves and Preds for me up here and left me scrambling. So I've had to move on to the next great ordeal.
I keep waiting to hear that YouTube gets a contract with Bally Sports. I'm hoping that brings it back. I actually like the Bally Sports. They're very sharp looking
And I guess they're supposed to be pumping in more of, as this transitions, you will get more of the casino, the lines, the gambling feeds tailored into it. And I guess that's why they bought it and took over, kind of encompass that into their gambling networks.
Yeah, what I'm hoping for is that Bally Sports signs a contract with because I noticed there's still some Fox Sports left out there. It depends on, I want to say the White Sox game last night was on a Fox Sports, because you can always tell by the only thing I don't like about Bally is the way that they compute their balls and strikes. And I'm sure I'm like the only one that complains about this, but it drives me nuts. When you look at the game and you see the balls and strikes, if there are not balls and strikes, outs. If there are no outs, if you're looking at the monitor, it's white, it's clear. But if there's an out, they didn't darken it in, so it's black. If you got two outs, there's two blacks, right? But when you see it, if you don't realize what you're looking at, it looks like it's yet to be filled in. They just need to pick a different color, so it's obvious, because usually for years they've been using yellow or red or whatever to indicate that. When you use the black, it looks like it's a part of the font, and you have no outs. That's the only part that I hate about Bally. It's driving me nuts every morning. But anyways, I know no one else cares about that, but it drives. These are the type of things that I stay awake at night thinking.
I'll get the intern to type the complaint for you and send it off, sir.
Pisses me off, man. Joey, how are you? I feel like we haven't let you talk yet.
No, all is good. Got my draft. I looked at the first round and a little bit of the second, so I got my Bears and Colts picks ready to go. And my Carson Wentz jersey just came in the other day, so I'm a happy man. Just got back from Tampa as well.
Who paid you to take that off their hands?
Fanatics.
Great retailer in Philly.
Let's go ahead and start this off. I've got the Dolphins pick, and Miami so far has drafted Hill, running back out of Mississippi State. And then, of course, earlier in the draft, they drafted Jalen Phillips. And to start it all off high in the first round, we went with Jamar Chase. So they got their receiver, they got their defensive player, and they've got the running back. I feel like you would try to do more with the offensive line here. And if they still haven't drafted an offensive line by this time, I feel like this is a place to go. And correct me if I'm wrong, because the guy I would have taken Justin drafted yesterday, so I got kind of scrambled a little bit. But I believe Creed Humphrey of Oklahoma is still there. And if he is still there, that's where the Miami Dolphins are going with their number 50th pick overall. Offensive lineman out of Oklahoma, 6'5", 320.
He is your pick.
So I'll go ahead and take him there. I just feel like I still have a lot of question marks about Tua long-term in the NFL, but you got to at least give the guy a fighting chance to be able to get the ball off. So there we have that. Creed from Oklahoma, offensive lineman. So that takes us to the Washington football team. And Justin, I believe that's you, isn't it?
It is, and I'm just pulling up. I want to make sure I get this correctly. In the first round, they went with offensive line help and took Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. So looping back around, needs are still they could add some wide receiver depth, could need quarterback, linebacker, tight end, a couple things there. I'm going to lean just because of where we're at on the board. I'm in between wide receiver. They add Curtis Samuel, so I'm going in the offseason. I'm going to say linebacker is probably the most pressing need. I'm going to take Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky, 6'4", 234 pounds, good hard-nosed center of the defense guy, and I think he'd fit in there perfectly in that Ron Rivera defense.
Okay, so repeat that one more time.
picked another one that you don't have, Jamin Davis. I don't want a middle linebacker named Jamin, Gamin.
No, I like it repeated so A, the listeners can hear it, and B, I've got time to write the damn thing down.
I thought I picked another no name that was on your list again.
No, y'all just like to machine gun me, and sometimes your internet will pause and then it'll go Jamin Davis, and I'm like, sure.
I'm practicing for that Micro Machine gig. They're bringing them back, and they need a new spokesperson. So I'm in my off time trying to squeeze that in. Sorry.
So Davis, Jamin Davis. That is a cool. If that's how he pronounces his name, that is a cool name.
And if he doesn't, I apologize. Mine sounds pretty cool, though.
Hameen, I'm going to be very disappointed. I hope it's Jamin.
Well, they don't call me Houston, so I mean, I'm hoping it's Jamin.
Joey, you got the Bears. Where are you going?
Yeah, I saw they went receiver in round 1, so I am going to go Liam Eckenberg, O-tackle out of Notre Dame. Liam, L-I-A-M, Eckenberg out of Notre Dame, O-tackle. For them, they need some offensive line help if they're going to have any chance with the two statues at quarterback in Dalton and Foles. So I'm going to take Notre Dame O-tackle, Liam Eckenberg.
What do you like about him, and why are the Bears taking him at that position?
I mean, just the Bears are taking him there because, I mean, their offensive line was abysmal last year. And as mentioned with the two statues they got, this guy's a, big body, a good pass rushing blocker. And they just need the depth simply. They don't have many names on the O-line. And they do have Allen Robinson. And now if they take the receiver in round 1 like we have here, you got to get him the ball somehow. So that's why I'm going with the O-tackle, Liam Eckenberg out of Notre Dame.
No one ever drafts a John Smith for me to write down. I've started to know this.
This one is a tough one. His last name is E-I-C-H.
I see.
No, but it is a pain of one.
Whatever happened to Joe Montana get drafted? I start seeing some of these names like, I'm not drafting him. I have no idea how to pronounce that one.
Most of my picks, I feel, are that way.
I'm going to punt that to Justin and see. Justin, the Tennessee Titans, ready to tighten up with the 53rd pick overall in the NFL draft. See, where do we have them go in the first round? What did you take?
Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Edge rush and linebacker were big needs. I feel like they addressed defensive line and edge rush in free agency. So I'm looking middle linebacker, wide receiver. I see some wide receivers I like. I'm in between two here, but I'm going to lean one specifically for his NFL comparison, and that is of Nate Washington. And Titans fans will love that. So I'm going Tylan Wallace, wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. Big dude, edgy, got a good attitude. He's scrappy, doesn't mind going in there and making the hard-nosed catches. And if he is a hard-nosed possession receiver like Nate Washington was in his prime, I'd be happy to have him on the roster.
What's his size? I don't have his size in front of me.
5'11", 194.
Okay.
We'll get him taller cleats. He'll be 6 foot by the time September rolls around.
He doesn't have to be that good. He's just going to go up against Colts secondary types of folks. So,
yeah.
Let it begin.
I mean, we run the ball, so we don't really need that much. But he's an aggressive, I think, wide receiver too. You need an alpha outside to feed off of Davis with the loss of, AJ Brown with the loss of Davis and Jonnu Smith. I really think you're going to see wide receiver probably hitting before linebacker and offensive lineman.
Okay, so that takes us to the Indianapolis Colts. And where are they going, Joey, in the 2021 draft in round 2? Number, this is the 54th pick overall if you're just joining us.
Yeah, and I like the first round pick made of the O lineman. So the two biggest needs were O line and a pass rusher. So I'm actually going with a guy who started as a quarterback going into college and changed to D end his junior year. His name is Chaz Surratt, defensive end, North Carolina. Um, he's 6'3", 230. He still has some work to do build wise. He's more of a DN / outside linebacker, came from North Carolina. The Colts like those, leaner, skinnier, guys coming off the edges usually now that they got the middle protected with Buckner and Stewart. So I'm going to go with Chaz Surratt, defensive end / outside linebacker for North Carolina.
I'll tell you what, North Carolina brings out some athletes. For people who don't pay attention to North Carolina football, they have athletes, and of course, Mac Brown's starting to put it together, starting to turn into one hell of a football program. Justin, I know you pay attention because you used to live over in that area, but I mean, North Carolina, University of North Carolina, is getting some big time athletes. I wouldn't sneeze at that at all. It looks like the highest ranked player in North Carolina in the draft this year is Javonte Williams, the running back. He's already gone in our draft, but Chaz Surratt's not too far behind him, and he hasn't gone yet. But I'm curious to see what happens with this. This is one of these ones I probably won't draft because I can't pronounce his name. Dyami Brown. I'm sure I'm butchering that. Dyami Brown. If he's the guy I think he is, when I watched a couple of North Carolina games this year, really athletic receiver. I can't believe that. Well, I thought Daz Newsome was pretty good, but he's not getting a very good draft grade. So shows you how much I know. Oh, he's also a senior. You know how they hate to draft seniors. Justin, are there any? So that kind of wraps it up as far as the mock draft goes for today. But Justin, are there any players out there that you're kind of surprised haven't gone yet?
Rashad Bateman was the other wide receiver. I was in between Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman. I've seen in some mock drafts where they show Bateman going in the first round. I mean, it's all over the place. He's a 6 foot 190 wide receiver out of Minnesota. So he's a name that could go up there. He gets a comparison maybe to like a Michael Gallup, somebody like that. But he's probably the biggest name. There's still a lot of edge and defensive guys. I think we took a little run on running backs that I think will probably sit a little bit longer. I don't know. I'm curious to see how everything unfolds this year. There's some quarterback names still out there, some of the lesser guys, teams that are going to need to draft some talent. I mean, Washington, is going to be a team to address a quarterback during the draft. So curious to see when they pull the trigger and add. Well, I'm curious if we got any of them right. We do this annually, and it's always fun to watch. It just makes it exciting, especially if you do get one of them right.
I'm always happy if we get like 4 right. Because draft begins, there's 7 trades. Like, this throws the whole thing in the crapper. We used to try to do trades, but it was too hard for me to keep up to people because I remember one year, like Forbes came on like a Wednesday or whatever, and he hadn't been on for almost a week. And he was sitting there, he must have guessed like 7 guys. I'm like, dude, that guy's gone. That guy's gone. I texted this to you. That guy's gone. He goes, oh, that's who that is. So at that point, you're just spinning the wheel. Tomorrow, we'll probably get through the second round. We've got, looks like 10 picks between Justin, Carr, and I. We'll probably get through it tomorrow. With it being Football Friday, we usually. By the way, tomorrow, if you we're going to be talking the spring football tomorrow. There's a lot
specifically the Gator football.
Yes,
spring game.
Cannot wait to talk about the spring game with Tony tomorrow. Joe, if you don't know what we're talking about, the Gators were not. The Gators are not going to have a spring game this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're doing they're doing this whole thing where they're using the University of Florida football stadium for vaccines.
Oh, okay.
So there are a lot of Gator fans out there that are like trying to sound like they're taking the high road, And we're more worried about the goodwill of everyone in the greater Florida area. Y'all have fun at your spring games. Like, yeah, actually we did. We had a great time.
Those are like some of the biggest games on TV before the season actually starts to get something watched.
Exactly.
There wasn't another stadium on campus that could have been used, but
I feel like there could. Yes, I mean, for crying out loud, you've got
your basketball arena is empty. Could you not have used it?
Yeah, I don't think it has to be outdoors, so I don't know why they couldn't have used the basketball arena because
Gainesville still is in Florida, correct?
Ish.
Okay. Does DeSantis still govern over Gainesville? Because I mean,
yes,
y'all been open for a while.
Yes.
Thought so. I just wanted to check. I didn't know if you had boundaries down there. I know Miami, y'all sometimes don't claim.
Tampa was wide open. Let me tell you.
Open. We only closed for like a weekend. I remember the first flip out of the U.S. in the national news was the fact that Jacksonville was opening up their beaches. It was like 2 weeks into the COVID shutdown. And they're like, screw it, let's go. Everyone get out there. Drink some bleach. It'll be all right. Yes, let's go. Let's go.
You need to travel, Mac. You really need to travel right now because it is amazing to go somewhere that's just coming off of restrictions and clampdowns, and they look at us like we're just crazy. Because we've been open and we weren't as wide open. Tennessee was a little bit slower, but we weren't far behind you. We've been back full open. Our schools have been in the entire school.
I'm hoping you're fully open and ready to roll by Labor Day weekend.
Dude, everything's open. There's nothing.
I'm just saying, keep it that way. I'm not trying to go up there to visit and have to.
You just have to pick and choose your businesses. Some owners still have their requirements and that, but as far as the state is concerned, be safe, to each their own, and wash your nasty hands, folks. That's what you got to do. Don't forget, wash your hands. But anyway, enough about my public safety health announcement there. But it's fun walking to some of these places, and you walk in and grab a door handle. And I was out west, and some of these cities we went into, they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he just touched that." I'm like, I've been touching doorknobs for 40 years. What's going to happen to make me melt now? I do this thing called washing my hands before I lick my fingers. But some people don't do that. They just like licking their fingers. Must be all them winners. Thanks, Jameis.
Man, gotta eat them W's. I guarantee you, Jameis isn't very COVID safe.
Oh, I guarantee you, he's probably got 2 bottles of hand sanitizer on him at all times.
What's your walk-off, sir?
That was pretty much it. Just glad to have everybody back. Joey, good to see you. You're going to have to fill us in on WrestleMania. So I need to hear about that, and maybe next week you can fill us in.
That's actually coming up over the break.
I'll stay tuned and I'll check it out on the flip side.
Hope your kid had a good birthday too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. He had a great one.
Yep.
All right. We're going to be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
God indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
This 911 call raised some eyebrows.
911, what's your emergency? Yeah, my wife got attacked by a warthog real bad, and I need someone to come up with an ambulance and pick her up. Okay, sir. Can you give me your address? Yeah, we're at 1825 Eucalyptus Drive. Okay, could you spell that for me, sir? I'm going to drag her on over to Oak Street, and you can pick her up there.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. We've got early Thursday action in Major League Baseball today. The Braves and Marlins square off at 12:20 Eastern, Rogers versus Anderson. At 1:10, it's Garrett Richards and Michael Pineda, Twins and Red Sox. Other games of note, Phillies and Mets at noon. Padres and Pirates at 12:30. And Marco Gonzalez goes up against Bruce Zimmerman as the Mariners are in Baltimore at 1:05 Eastern. Indians and White Sox, 2:10 Eastern. And this evening, the Rays host the Rangers at 7:10. Blue Jays at the Royals. Tigers and A's. And Rockies and Dodgers finish their series. In the NBA tonight, you've only got a few games, but you got a nice doubleheader on TNT starting at 7:30 Eastern. It's Bucks and Hawks and Celtics at Lakers at 10 p.m. Warriors take on the Cavs at 8, and the Kings and Suns do battle at 10. Those games are local. In the National Hockey League at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's the Islanders versus the Bruins, and Preds are at the Hurricanes, along with Panthers and Lightning on NBC Sports Network, the battle for Florida. At 7:30 Eastern, Blackhawks versus the Red Wings, and the Devils and Rangers, Sabres and Caps, Flyers and Penguins, and Jets and Maple Leaf are all in early action. And then on ESPN Plus at 8:30, it's the Blue Jackets versus the Stars. In college baseball, number 11 South Carolina travels to LSU in Baton Rouge on ESPNU at 7:30. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for more of the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3-ounce serving, Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
It all starts with just one thing. Glass jars can be reused to store food and spices, as a holder for combs and brushes in the bathroom, or as a container for plants and homemade candles, in addition to simply being recycled. Find tips and more at onethingus.com.
Oh! Chinatown urinal. I'm forever unclean. Don't laugh. I didn't piss on my pen. Oh, Chinese man piss.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterback, CBS Sports Radio. YouTube Live, Armchair Quarterbacks Live. Find us today. Joey, I'm curious, up in Chicago, that no-hitter, was that a big deal on the news cycle up there, or was it kind of ho-hum?
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, especially since, Rodon to this point is kind of had a, I would say negative career for the most part that's been derailed by some injuries and just average pitching. So to see him, and I mean, really until he hit the batter in the 9th inning, the fans were even up a little more. And then you still get a no-hitter, which is awesome. But yes, it's being talked about heavily today, especially with the north side being a lump of garbage. It was good to see the White Sox start to play better ball at home and Rodon get the no-hitter.
I just personally, I was pulling for the guy because I remember when he came out of North Carolina State, actually watched him play quite a bit in college. And I remember him being, when he was drafted, he was a first-round pick, and he was highly touted, and he never quite put it together. Then when he got up, then he had the big injury, the Tommy John. It seems like he's struggled ever since to go up and down and up and down. And for him to finally get a no-hitter is incredible. Hopefully he can keep this together and keep his season going. But when you get a no-hitter like that, unfortunately, a lot of times it's by guys that aren't heard from again. And so I hope that's not the case, because Rodon, like his story from North Carolina State to the majors, Tommy John surgery, and now he can kind of put a cap on what would be considered all the way back with the no-hitter. And he's the least likely guy on the. I mean, if you told me a White Sox was going to throw a no-hitter, I would have been guessing Giolito, Lance Lynn. You don't expect it coming from Carlos Rodon, who's always been kind of a junk pitcher. He's not really known as a guy that blows you away with his velocity. He's more of a guy that, throws a nasty curve. Of course, that curve's what perfected he got the perfecto out of the way, because he bounced the thing on the toe. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. That's how his a perfect game was. If you walk a guy legitimately, okay. If you hit a guy, it just sucks. It really sucks.
It's bothersome.
I just saw it again.
Don't do it to yourself.
Barely on the toe.
That was the frustrating part, because I mean,
that putt should have moved his foot out of the way. You got a perfect game going. Earn it legitimately. You don't just stand there and take a lump on the toe.
Please.
WWE, what was that like?
It was an awesome 2-night event. 25,000 each night. There was a little bit of rain. I went Saturday night. They gave it a little delay, but Raymond James Stadium, they did a great job.
It was a 2-night event?
2-night event because of COVID, because they couldn't. Usually they get 70,000 plus, but still they're at the size now where it's like, okay, we could do 25,000 each night. But let me tell you, when you got in there, they left you alone for the most part.
Let me ask you this: when you watch it on TV, was it a 2-night event, or did they tape the first night and then broadcast the whole thing in one night?
Both were live separate nights. Both started at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
That's how they get you. They charge you twice. Okay.
Well, so if you have Peacock TV, you just have to obviously pay the subscription. But yeah, if you order it, they split it in half. I think it was $35 a night instead of $69.99. But it was about 3 to 4 hours each night, and just fantastic to see fans back. I haven't been doing an event back.
I wonder if there's any idiot out there that bought the standalone at $70 when they could have bought Peacock TV for an entire year for $60.
Exactly.
Or I don't even think you have to sign up for a year. I think you could have just signed up for $6. I wonder if there's an idiot out there that did that. There had to have been.
Right. And I mean, if you just simply wanted to watch Mania, you could have just Peacock TV free trial. Boom. You could have been done with it after a week. So, I mean, there's plenty of ways to not pay the full amount, but just to see all the people back, you could see all the smiles on people's faces, mask off, everyone's smiling, good weather outside. I didn't want to come back from Tampa Bay to the Chicago state where we get, told what to do left and right over here. So it was beautiful. It was awesome. I miss it already.
I don't know how, oh, that's what I was going to play for you. I knew there was something that I was going to play. Now, where is it? Well, I don't see it. Oh, here it is. All right, listen to this. This is I don't know if this is opening day, but it was in Chicago. And this is someone videotaped the Mayor Lightfoot being introduced. I'm thinking this is opening day in Chicago. But this was her reception, and what looked like a pretty sparsely. I mean, it doesn't look like there's more than 100 people up there, but this was the reaction.
Mayor Lightfoot booed heavily at White Sox home opener.
I just thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Oh no, that first off, it was kind of like a little colder day. She looked miserable. It was miserable. I'm glad she got booed.
I didn't even see it originally. I just saw it. I saw it on a TikTok or something. I was like, "What is this, Mayor?" I was like, "Oh, Lightfoot, I hate her. What'd she do?" Man.
She just did everything wrong, pretty much. No big deal.
It just dumbfounds me that people elected her.
I mean, honestly, the worst part about all of it is I would say when you're choosing from a bunch of bad options, you got to pick the worst of the best.
Well, who was the other person on the voting ballot? Was it Al Capone himself or something?
I forget her name now, but she, believe me, it was two not good options. it was choosing crap from crap.
Someone's got to step up and do something. I mean, there's got to be one good apple in the city of Chicago. We're gonna go ahead and push you for mayor of Chicago.
Hey,
I don't know when I don't know when the election is, but we'll go ahead and get the bumper stickers made. And you know, come on, we'll get you and your brother in there running it. We'll make him is there a vice mayor in Chicago?
No, it's all her. She has a nice, building under her, but
already you've got her beat because you got a much better haircut.
Yeah. which isn't hard to do.
I saw her on television during her campaign say, "Oh yeah, I got to vote for that." That's what I want to look at for the next 4 years. Oh, what a train wreck. All right, back to sports. So all in all, you enjoyed it. You only went to the one the Saturday night, right?
Right, only went to the Saturday night.
What did you do for Sunday nights? Did you go out to a bar or?
We actually went to it's like 20 minutes outside of Tampa. My buddy, his dad has a really nice, it's like a gated community right on a golf course. He ordered it out. We watched it outside on one of his TVs, and he ordered up some barbecue. So it was a fantastic time. Like I said, besides a little bit of rain, everything in Florida was top of the line, and I'm just glad it's open.
Were you with your brother?
I was
at the Rays game. I saw.
Yeah, we went Monday night when Glanz. I think he had 14 or 15 Ks.
Okay, I saw that he checked in at the Rays game. And I assumed you were with them, but I didn't know if you had to leave. And all, how.
That was on Monday. We left Tuesday morning, but even though the Rays are struggling a little, it was fun to see Glasnow pitch. I was really happy to see him pitch well too.
Yeah, he's man, he's phenomenal. I still can't believe that Pittsburgh traded him. I mean, what
Unreal.
a dopey trade that was.
Brutal.
All right, well, American League Central, we'll go ahead and get that knocked out of the way because so are you more of a White Sox or are you more of a Cubs fan?
More of a Cubs fan, but I am not a Sox hater by any means. I'm not one of those where
I heard you take a shot at the people on the north side, so I couldn't tell if you were a Sox fan or if you're it was a little confusing.
I'm just so frustrated. Usually I'm half glass full type of guy, but with the Cubs this year, I'm so frustrated. It's the same garbage offense we've seen for 2 years and their penny pension. So I have a lot of negative remarks on my favorite team in MLB.
I'll tell you what's not good is I'm looking at the run differential for the Cubs right now.
Minus 20.
What? Minus 20. And we're only 12 games into the season. That's got to be the biggest in baseball. No. Oakland A's minus 26. Why the hell are the Oakland A's so terrible in April and then nobody can beat them in June and July? It's ridiculous.
It's like the same thing on repeat each year, I feel like.
But as far as the AL Central is concerned, the White Sox are sitting at 6-6. Unbelievably, my darlings, the Royals, have the first place. If we could end the season out, look like a genius. Long season to go, only 10 games in, but I'm liking the fact that Kansas City is definitely scoring some runs. They're also giving up a lot of runs, so that's going to be it could be an issue down the road. But as far as the White Sox go, you put the no-hitter aside, all in all, first of all, I don't think Cleveland can keep up any kind of a pace, right? And I think the Twins are up against a really hot Red Sox team. That's why they're sitting at 5-7. The rest of the division's essentially sitting around 500. When you look at the White Sox going in, we'll just say that the first litmus test in baseball is always Memorial Day. Are the White Sox sitting at first place come Memorial Day?
Ooh. I mean, I think they should be if they're healthy. As I said before the season, it's a pretty mediocre division overall, as we all know that. But I mean, besides the Eloy injury, unless they get another big, I mean, especially if Rodon and others could at the back end of the rotation could live up to their actual standard they were supposed to, I don't see why they shouldn't be atop the division. I mean, their bats are getting hot now. This homestand has kind of helped them. After they struggled a little bit at the beginning. So I think if they stay injury free, I'm saying, yes, they should be at the top of the division, as they're already in the muck of things right now with, like you said, everyone being around that 500 mark.
Mercedes, the catcher, this guy's red hot.
He's not going to last that hot.
No catcher's going to hit 500. Nobody's going to hit 500, but he is red hot coming out the gates.
Yeah. And so it's weird. A guy like that who's
what the hell is Grandal doing? I've got him in a fantasy team. He's killing hitting 154. His slugging's barely over 300.
I mean, hey, believe me, I got Moncada in one league and he doesn't even have a home run yet and 2 RBI. So it's weird. They're not having some of their offensive guys aren't producing, and then a guy like Mercedes has been.
He's the only one that you would consider having a good start to the season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Tim Anderson just got a little banged up as well. So, like I said, health is going to be key. If they could stay healthy, these bats are going to turn around. As we all know, the weather in Chicago this time of year isn't that great. Unlike the North Side, their bats just struggle because they sadly aren't that good in my favorite team. But the White Sox bats will turn it around as this thing gets warmer and we head into May.
How is your fantasy team doing?
One of them had a really rough week. I think I might have set an all-time low for homers in a week, but I have Bo Bichette, so he actually kept me floating the surface, but a little bit of a rough week. Max Fried for me too now, banged up. So I had a couple stingers right off the bat. We're at a little bit of a slow start.
Well, just be fortunate you're not in the league we invited you to, because you'd be getting your ass kicked right now.
Usually,
big boy league.
My guys are off to a slow start. So,
by the way, anyone who got Ronald Acuna Jr. has just got to be frothing at the bottom. Listen to his stats so far. I know we're only 12 games in. No one can keep up this pace. When you talk about white hot, and he remembers something, he started off the first 3 games of the season not hitting a lick. Okay. But even with that aside, 12 games into the season, and he basically almost went over in the first three game series. He's hitting 447, 6 home runs, 12 RBI, 47 total bases, a 1,000 slugging, and a 1,500 OPS. Oh, by the way, a 500 on-base percentage. And that's with the first 3 games. So I wish I had the stats in front of me as far as what it would be since the last 9 games, but I don't have that in front of me. But that guy's just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah, we're in a keeper league where one guy traded Acuna for a bunch of assets last season to try and make a deep playoff run by making his team deeper, and we still
traded Acuna in a keeper league.
And we give him crap every day in the group chat. Every day we're on him because you don't trade a player like that.
I need his email so we can invite him into some leagues.
Yeah,
off the floor with him. That is insane. Who the hell, man? I don't even know if I would allow that as a commissioner. You can't trade Acuna, dude. You can't do that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He probably got
that's like a real general manager trading Patrick Mahomes. Well, we're out of the playoffs this year, so I'm going to try to build some depth with the Chiefs next year. We're not trading Mahomes. What are you, nuts?
It was a bad trade. I hope he's watching the show. If not, I'll get him the replay.
It's a terrible. I don't care who he got back, unless you told me he got like Tatis and another player. It was a terrible trade.
It was a terrible trade. That's all I can say.
Well, unless you got like Juan Soto and you happen to get I don't know, who's a good young pitcher, Giolito. It was a terrible trade because right now he's tearing the cover off the ball. The one thing about Acuna, he tends to play, and I know I'm jinxing him. He tends to play every day. Tatis, when people ask me preseason, who would you draft? I said, well, look, everything being equal, I know you get a lot of production from Tatis at the shortstop position, but the problem is he doesn't play a full season. He's only played 143 games, Tatis, and he's been up, I guess, 144 now, and this is his third season. Now, granted, last year was a shortened season, but my point is the kid has shown that he's injury prone. With Soto, you could talk me into Soto as well. To me, the argument was between Soto and Acuna, not Acuna and Tatis. The thing about Soto is he's very consistent, and he is a meticulous watch video type of hitter. He waits for you to make a mistake. Acuna lets his natural ability just take over.
No, I mean, I can't go wrong with any of those guys. I mean, Acuna has been consistent, and like you said, knock on wood on the field.
Does he get to 40-40 this year? He's got 6 home runs and 3 stolen bases. I think the question is can he get 40 stolen bases?
Yeah, because when you're one of the best players in baseball, a generational player, I could see him maybe taking
on that pace, right? You're 12 games in, 3 stolen bases. You multiply that by 12, you'd be at 144 games with 36 stolen bases. So he's on that pace. But my concern is whether or not he could actually get to the. I think he'll get the. I'm not worried about the home runs. If he's healthy, he's going to hit 40.
Oh, no doubt.
The stolen bases, will he get that 40 stolen bases? Right now, if we have 39.5 over under, would you take the over or the under on that?
I'm only going to take the under just because I think I feel like he's going to pick his spots with, I know he has a few, but I think he's going to, the home run RBI numbers are going to be so big that he's not going to have to be swiping a lot of bases, and maybe, they want him picking his spots more than just running loose all the time.
Well, I'll tell you something else. Since they moved him, since they shuffled the Braves batting lineup, which, by the way, they've been scoring, so it was a good move by Snicker. I'm not going to kill him on that. They've got, because I've been preaching for the longest time, you got to get Albies out of the second spot. He's a rally killer. So they've got Freeman hitting second now, and then Ozuna. So when he finally heats up, it'll look really dangerous. But with all that being said, if Acuna gets on base and Freddie Freeman's up to bat, I don't think you're going to send Acuna most of the time. You're going to be like, no, dude, because if we send him, he's going to be standing on second. They're going to walk Freeman and hope that Ozuna hits into a double play. I'm watching a replay of the White Sox no-hitter against Cleveland, and there's a play that they keep replaying it because it was a close play, but I'm looking at it as, why the hell do Major League Baseball players do not understand that if you run through the bag, you're going to get there a lot faster than if you dive at the bag? Because to dive at the bag, I'm talking about first base.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why he still had the no-hitters, because this idiot dove at the bag when he should have ran through it. If you run through it, you never stop your momentum. To dive, you actually have to take almost a stutter step. If you think about what you're doing in your years of playing baseball at any point in time, to dive, you're not just running and then you just go leaping like, the great American hero. You have to kind of do a stutter step to dive to be able to aim at the bag, and that slows you down. I do not understand why and you'll still see him do it. Going into second, going into third, I get the dive. Going into first, it never works. The only time you ever dive into first base is if let's say the pitcher has the ball and he's trying to tag you, then I get that.
Right, because I was going to say, you're not avoiding tags like you do at other bases. Like that, it just slows you down.
It makes, I'll never understand it.
I'm with you.
I know they're not being coached that way. I know that once they get back to the bench, they go, dude, you got to run through the back. But who teaches them that? So it happens somewhere when they're younger that it was successful one time and they think, okay, you might be safe, but you would have been safe anyways if you run through it.
I think it was a Lori Lightfoot run league that they learned that in.
It's something. We got to run because I'm actually getting my jab today, so I got to get the hell off the air.
All right.
What's your walk-off for the day?
Just that, I mean, it's been an early start to baseball. So if I'm a fan of anybody, I'm not in panic mode or elevating my thoughts just yet. Like you say, let's get it to Memorial Day. We got the draft coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm still catching up from my Florida trip. So glad to be back on the show, and hope all goes well with you later, and good luck.
My walk-off is this is the 74th anniversary of when President Truman, 74th anniversary of Jackie Robinson debuts with the Dodgers. It was a year before President Truman desegregated the military. So it was kind of like the front runner and becoming the first black player to participate in Major League Baseball. And it was in front of a crowd of 25,000 people. Remember Jackie Robinson today when you're watching some baseball. Number 42. Hell of an American. We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Gonna get